So Gwen, talk about, let me reframe that. I'm looking at relaunching our website. What do I need to think about in regards to search engine optimization? And so I make sure it's not an afterthought, which I've done in other cases.
Yes, that's a great question. I talk to clients all the time that deal with this. And really, it's a great idea to think about search engine optimization before you launch your new website so that for two reasons. One, you mitigate your lost traffic. So if your website is already ranking really well for things and you're getting a lot of traffic for certain terms, you want to make sure that you maintain that when you launch your new site. You don't want to launch this beautiful new site and then not have anybody find it. So you really want to make sure that you're accounting for all of the URLs that are on your site currently.
Okay.
You want to know what pages are bringing in the most traffic, and you want to make sure that the pages that you're ranking well for are maintaining the SEO elements from one site to another. So it's really important to think about your keyword strategy and carry that over from your old site to your new site, and making sure that you're getting that optimization in your title tags, your heading tags, within the body of your content. While SEO changes on a regular basis, the very basic things stay the same, which is if you want to come up for a certain term or topic, you have to make sure that those words and topics are in the right places. So that is one of the things. The other thing is that you want to make a good impression with the search engines. You never get a second chance to make a first impression, right?
And that is that when you actually officially submit the site to Google, for example? Okay.
Correct. So before going live, your SEO, and don't rely on your web developer to think that they're going to know all of these things.
And so many times the web developer will say, oh yeah, I'll do the SEO, don't worry about that, I've got that. And then you get to the end and you're like, no, they didn't know what they were doing.
Exactly, yeah. I talk to web developers all the time where I say, why do you have the logo in an H1 tag and it's the same H1 tag across all of your pages? And for the layman, that just means that that's the most important topic on each page, and Google's seeing that as the same, and your pages aren't the same across the board. So it's very important to not only have that discussion with your web developer, but to know what to ask them for. So ask them, make sure they have a plan for any redirected URLs that you might be archiving from your old site to your new site, and making sure that they know what pages are most well trafficked. A seasoned SEO will go a long way with this. That can work really well with a web developer. They work in tandem with one another. But when you do launch your new site, you're going to launch the site, submit a new sitemap to Google Search Console, and then monitor what any errors that you might have. There'll always be a few small things, but if you have someone monitoring it that's very experienced, that's gonna go a long way, because you're gonna be able to identify those problems right away. But going back to you never get a second chance to make a first impression, Google really wants to see that you have, with your new website, followed all the best practices of today. So is your site mobile friendly? If your site's not mobile friendly in 2017 almost, we have a problem.
Forget about it.
50% of searches are done on mobile devices. That's even higher for a local business. So if you're a business that depends on a restaurant, a chiropractor, a dentist, any local service, you need to have a mobile website. You also need to make sure that your load time is really good on those mobile websites. You have 4 seconds to capture a person if they're clicking on a Facebook link to come over to your site. If your site doesn't load in 4 seconds, they're out of there, not coming back. So there's a really great thing that Google has partnered with an open source called AMP, Accelerated Mobile Pages. There's a WordPress plugin for it that makes it super easy and really helps your load times. So it's very important to think about that. The other way you never get a second chance to make a first impression is with your users. You have to make sure that when people are finding your website in the search results, that's goal number one. Goal number two is get that click from the search engine result page into your website. So you want to make sure that your title tags and your meta descriptions are telling people in the best way possible that what's on the page and how you can help them in order to convert that business into a phone call or a visit to your store. So it's important to make that plan. The best offense is a good defense. The best defense is a good offense.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, exactly.
And so it's important to think about that plan before you go live with your new website and then think, oh, it's much harder to go back and look at what was working on the old website than to just make a plan from the beginning.
Yeah. And I've heard, Gwen, that, you talk about that meta tag description, that Google will sort of slap you on the wrist if the content that's actually on that page is different that's in that description. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So don't be misleading, right, in that description.
100%, yeah. And also, don't leave it up to Google to pick their own meta description from your page, because if you leave that field blank, they're going to just pick whatever they feel like.
Like the first sentence in your, paragraph or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. And, sometimes people start off their content with, a joke or a, some piece of soft fluff to get people interested, and you don't want that on your meta description. So it's always a great idea to have a call to action in your meta description. Be very succinct. You have 160 characters or something in that description, so that's more than a tweet, and you can get across a concept of a page very quickly and succinctly there.
Great advice.
Yeah, thank you.